Elements in everything, the composition of love. Hello. Welcome. I am so excited for today. I am seeing some familiar faces. Lots of my clients in the Conscious Creative Business School are here. Welcome to today's Masterclass. How are you today? As you're popping in, you can start putting in the chat how you're entering this space. Just tune into your energy, into your emotional body, and how you're entering the space. No judgment. We're here to be together. I'm sure some more people will be trickling in, so I'm looking forward to today and from hearing from you. Also, if we don't know each other, let me know your name. So I know everybody here so far, but let me know your name and where you're tuning in from. So I was just looking at where my Venus is in my chart, which we will be looking at a little bit today. This isn't a full-on astrology course. However, we are going to be using bits and pieces of the magic of astrology, the magic of these gorgeous archetypes, and we're going to be infusing that into our rituals, our business rituals. No more tasks, no more to-dos, no more boring ass business to-dos. We are living a magical life, full stop. Okay? And if you are a magical creator, if you are a conscious creator, a healer, a coach, a teacher, a mentor, someone that is sharing a legacy, someone that is helping and transforming people's lives, co-creating with them to help them to transform their lives. This is truly an honorable position. So first we're going to claim that. This is an honorable position for you to be in, and everybody gets the call to be a teacher. Everybody gets the call to teach. And if you're a coach, you know that there's teaching involved in that. And if you're a yoga teacher, you know that there's definitely coaching and spiritual development in that. And so whatever you claim is your role or title is not as important as how we're going to express ourselves moving forward today to help you to attract clients so that you can double your revenue. Your clients want to pay you. Your clients want to see you abundant. Your clients also want to know what is possible for them and see you thriving in your lives. So they want to pay you. We're going to get to that. And my Venus being in the 9th house is all about adventure and travel. So I am speaking to you today from gorgeous Lake Atitlan, Guatemala. I know some of you live here as well, super cool, or maybe have felt a resonance here. Some of you live in beautiful places around the world, and you probably, if you're resonating with my work, want to have a business where you are not tied down to location alone. Location freedom is the ultimate financial freedom. So financial freedom for me is not only about making the most money as fast as I can, it is about choice. It is about choice of who I work with, because that matters. When your clients feel like cashmere to your nervous system because they are there to work with you, so they look up to you, so they're receiving your guidance, so they're asking questions, they're giving you the opportunity to answer questions like a teacher. So everybody gets the call to teach, but very few answer that call. So you're here answering that call. And you're working from where? Where are you working from? Stephanie's here with me. Amazing. I was wondering. Stephanie and I are both, I think like there's a vibe here. There's like people that go out and there's people that mingle. And then there's those of us that live on the mountainside and quietly do our work. And I am both. I'll be shaking my booty at a static dance and then no one will see me for a week. So super fun. I love it tuning in from Lake Atitlan. Tuning in from south of France. That feels so luxurious as well. And so amazing. Santa Barbara. So I've been to I lived in Santa Barbara. I did not live in the south of France. I lived in the south of Spain, if we call like spending 3 months somewhere living, which is what I do call that, like having this nomadic life. One archetype of people that I help are these digital nomads, but I love to call us something different. Like you are mentors, coaches, healers, guides, and the fact that you're able to do your work from anywhere in the world is truly remarkable, because there are people all over the world that need your magic. Soul aligned clients are different than, just clients that we make money, that help us make money. No, soul aligned clients allow you to feel fulfilled, allow you to show up to calls like this going like, dang. And some of you already have that, and some of you want more of that, and some of you are just getting started and want to create that. Or maybe you've worked with clients in the past before your spiritual awakening, and now you're like, well, I want to help people that are more aligned with this, that I don't have to explain that this matters, that this card I pulled matters, and you want to work with people who are interested in this magical side of life. And if you're coming out of the spiritual woo-woo closet, amazing, you are totally also in the right place. And if you've always been out of the woo-woo closet, you are also in the right place. So let me pull up my notes. Yes, Diana from LA. I have some notes on astrology and the stage today. So I'm really excited that we have our actress in the house. Amazing, because we are all actors and directors of our own lives. And so I'm going to show how that works today. Can you believe it that my notes, they're making me sign in to get my notes. And I don't even know if I know my... Come on, kids. All right, well, that's a bummer. Give me my notes. So as I am looking for my notes, let's hear more about how you're coming into this space. And if you know, actually, I want to hear what is your relationship to astrology? Because I've worked with full-on astrologers, like people who are astrologers, and help them to attract their clients. And I don't claim like astrologer, but we get to actually. And how I look at astrology and being an astrologer is the same way that I look at psychology and being a psychologist. Now, some people think that you need a PhD in psychology to call yourself a psychologist, but really these words, psychology, this is the study of the psyche. Astrology is the study of the astros. It's the study of the cosmos. It's the study. And for me, I weave psychology and astrology. So for me, astrology is the study of how our psyches interface with these bigger myths. So the macro is the micro, as above, so below. We each have a universe within us. Who needs notes? This is way better. We each have a universe within us. But if we look to the sky, we also see the stars above. We see the myths painted on the night sky. This is what the ancient ones did. They were like, ooh, Leo, looks like a lion. And we created stories, and we live at the level of story. For better or worse, because there is a worse. There is like a way that we tell stories. There are stories that we don't have to tell anymore about our lives, about who we are, stories that have been told about us. And we want to find our healthiest ancestors. We want to find our healthiest stories. And we want to tell brand new stories and create brand new myths based on the myth of all myths, based on astrology, based on the most successful energies that are accessible to all of us. So let's see. We know a little bit. We've checked our birth charts. And I've also worked with people who know nothing about astrology. So what I want to say is that this isn't like an astrology, come learn about astrology course. And the way that I work with astrology and the way that I work with myths and legends because I am a business coach for a reason. I'm a business coach and I have the title of business coach because I help people to live their mission. And we need more money to be on mission. We just do. You have a bigger mission than even the one that you're allowing yourself to live in now. And your mission might even be beyond helping your one-on-one private clients. There may be a mission that you helping your private clients, it's to lead into the overall mission. Maybe when you think of it like in spiritual terms, you're like, I know that I'm here to elevate the creative consciousness of the planet. Sure, that's not great marketing because we don't really know what that means. Don't worry, we'll get into the how-tos of marketing because messaging and marketing is important. It's my specialty. And having a mystic message is truly amazing because your people are going to get it. They're going to get the magical way that you speak. They're going to get the deeper language beyond the language. They are, but we actually get to point them there. Okay. So I want to try pulling up these notes again. Yes, they're coming. Great. Don't deny me my notes. I sat and channeled what I wanted to teach on today because if you're anything like me, you like to be prepared. And if you're anything like me, you also get downloads in the moment. And so I always like to look over my notes and add in the flavor of the day, add in the flavor of the feeling, tune into who I feel is going to show up, tune into who is here, and really personalize these experiences based on who is here. So I did want to start with some house cleaning sometimes, and some of you live in at Atitlan know that the internet isn't always firing. And so if I get kicked off, just know I will be right back and you can chat with each other, or somebody some leader, some manifester in the space. I also love human design, but some manifester in the space will start chatting, and that's really cool as well. But yeah, so I also want to know your big three in the comments, and if you know if you're a projector, a manifester, a generator, a reflector in human design. Now, when you work with me, we work with these archetypes and the psyche to fill in any gaps in our successful aura. So in our success path. So what success looks like to us on our terms. It doesn't have to be a big life to you, doesn't have to be standing on stages around the world, although it could be. A big life to me does mean that I am internationally affecting, changing the world, but I still get to live in my humble little home on the mountainside. But I am seen and recognized online internationally. That's a big success life for me. And we do need more money for that. We do need more money to set our mission in motion. So your mission also could be helping 100 women to self-develop in these sort of ways, X, Y, and Z ways. Great. So today's focus is really about becoming visible. Somehow in your mission, you may feel behind, you may feel overlooked, you may be sharing your message, you may be online creating content, and you feel overlooked. You feel like this person gets clients, that person gets clients, and, I'm older and wiser. This was my thoughts. I am older and wiser. Where are my clients? But all the kids these days seem to be dancing on the TikToks and then they're making money online. And it's all cool. You can make money as a content creator. You can get brand deals. But what we are doing here is activating our content. And content is actually quite a beautiful word. It is not a post on the internet that goes viral. Content is what you put in a book. Content is the content of your teachings. Content is these notes that I wrote today before coming to this class of what do I want to share and teach on? What is the legacy that I'm carving out today? Okay. So content is cosmic, it's mystical, it's magical, okay? It's not just, oh, I gotta create content and become a content creator. We are being visible so that you can activate your greatest mission, so that your people, your soul aligned clients that help you feel fulfilled in your day-to-day work, your work in the world. work, find work you love and it won't feel like work. This does not feel like work. Getting dressed up, uh, writing beautiful love notes and sharing my voice with some magical creators and helping them to make more money does not feel like work. Coaching my clients, like sometimes my clients like, you coached me at 7 in the morning? Well, girl, I'm up at 4. The cats woke me up. So I've already done all my morning rituals. And now it's like, yeah, like the first thing I want to do is share my downloads that I got from my dream with my clients. And on this private mentorship level, it's like I'm dreaming of them. And so you probably are having these gifts as well. And you are probably not able to activate them because there's this like block around being seen, or can I give this away for free? Like, can I give all this stuff away? Like, who's going to pay me if I give all this stuff away for free? There's lots of thoughts around content, and we're going to clean a lot of that up today. So today's goal is really to help you to be visible to your ready to invest clients so you can double your revenue but feel fulfilled. Because doubling your revenue, I'm going to get some pushback for saying this, is actually quite easy. It's actually quite easy. But doubling your revenue while working with the best clients who pay you at your most nourishing price point, this takes the mixture of skill and magic, and exactly what I'm going to teach you today. So I have come to understand by working with hundreds of soul-led leaders, thousands at this point, if you count all the people in my groups across platforms that I've affected that haven't even let that be known, who have come to me years later and be like, yes, I've been following you. You helped me make money. You helped me start my business. You helped me grow my business. Oh, cool. So thousands of people at this point. But what I have learned is that there's actually no point in building a business that you don't love, because you will want to burn it down. Now, if you know anything about astrology, each sign has an element attached to it, and we all have fire within us, even if it says we have less. We all have fire within us. Your birth chart is a holistic view of all that is available to you. And we can even reach into the archetypes that are not in our birth chart to become who we're meant to become. So this is how I work with our charts. It's not a trap of the past or a picture. It's not just a picture of the moment you were born and all the things in your future and this is it. It is an opportunity to understand any gaps that we may have, the possibilities, the limitless expressions of our soul that are available to everyone, no matter their birth chart, no matter their upbringing, no matter if they wake up on the wrong side of the bed. You can shift that. You can shift that. So you will want to burn down a business you don't love because we all have fire within us. We have every archetype in our chart, and we live in a symbolic world. Many of you know this symbol, the Chicana. This is a Peruvian symbol, which means as above, so below, as within, so without. So we are going to be working with the micro, which is you and your inner world, the whole universe that lives within you, thoughts, feelings, emotions, and we're going to be working with the cosmos, the largest celestial bodies on the planet, but the ones in our solar system, the ones that are close to us, that we can see, that we've been resonating with for thousands and thousands of years, since the ancient times. So this is how these morphic fields are created, because our consciousness, as our creative consciousness grows, we project it onto these planets, and they start to, I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg, the macro or the micro. I don't think that's important. It's like, is Jupiter feeding us with this consciousness, or are we feeding Jupiter? I like to think of it as a cycle. Okay, so before we really get into the practical nitty-gritties, I wanted to read you a poem, okay? I wanted to read you a poem by Rumi, called The Guest House. You may or may not have heard it, but I realized that I've heard it. But when I read it this morning, again, when I pulled it of all the different expressions that I could share today, that this felt aligned for today. And maybe someone out there needs to hear this. So every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. We may be clearing you out. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Ooh. So letting that reach our souls for a moment. As humans, we have preferences, but astrology has taught me that all expressions are needed for a full life, and it's taught me that all expressions are needed for success. So let me read some of these comments because I want to know some of your signs. We have a generator, sun, Scorpio rising, Aries, moon. Oh, moon Sag. Okay, sun, Scorpio, rising Aries, moon Sag. So fun. Generator. I'm also a generator. We have a projector, sun, Aquarius, moon, Leo, rising Cancer. How sweet. Sun, Taurus, rising Leo, moon, Virgo. Manifesting generator. That's so fun. Pisces sun. So if this is making sense or it's not, that's okay. I'm just getting a read on kind of the energies that are filling the space. So one of my gifts is really I have a Pisces moon, and this is very psychic. This is very otherworldly. This is very poetic. This is very creative. And I can kind of hold the energies that are here and kind of pull from the energies that I'm feeling. And you might get some personal insight a little bit later, because before this class as well, I created a guide that everybody who's in the 7-day challenge is going to get, a guide to your Venus and which house it is in and how to double your revenue that way. Amazing, which we're going to talk about today, but I wanted you to have a visual guide. So beautiful. Some projectors. We have no reflectors here today. I just invested in myself again, and my new guide is a reflector. And I was like, wow. And I had already invested in myself. And I thought, ooh, how rare to get to work with a rare gem. So reflectors are 1% of the population. And generators and manifesting generators, we're the most, we're the workers, let's go. And like, this is why it's important to be fulfilled. I believe it's important to be fulfilled for anyone, but if I'm not fulfilled, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do these things just to do them. It has to be like a yes, like a fulfillment. There's a reason why. And so finding your reason why, finding what motivates each and every one of you is super pivotal. And I feel like anybody who's in this pause or this break or just feels like they can't go on, your why isn't strong enough. Because I have made hundreds of thousands of dollars, helped hundreds and hundreds of people in 1 year when I had the absolute worst year of my life, because my mission fulfilled me. It was like, fuck it, that sucks, that sucks, that sucks, but I'm on mission. And so I can greet these sucky things at my door and laugh in their face and be like, ha ha, I'm still a funny bitch. I'm still here. I'm still kicking. I still know my mission. I still have my plan. I'm still able to shift my energy into, it's not toxic positivity. It's like, haha, we'll fucking laugh at anything. When you've had a dark life, when you've grown up with a lot of shadows, you actually can laugh, for better or worse, you can laugh at some pretty dark shit. And it's like, if we're not laughing, if we're not having fun, if we're not looking at the magic, when we're in it, in our pain body, like, I mean, don't laugh in the face of your clients. When my clients come to me with what's happening in their lives, like, we eventually get to the hee-hee-ha-has, but like, no, I'm understanding, I'm here, I'm listening, and some of you have experienced that as well. And it's like, if we can find joy in the most painful bits of life, then we're really working with Jupiter at that level. And Jupiter magic, it's magic, will help you to grow 10x your business. So we're talking about doubling your revenue next month and 10xing your income at some point in 2025. No urgency around this because Jupiter is a long-term vision. Okay, so I also want to know, to personalize this process for all of you and the magical 7 days that we're going to be going on together. So this kicks off 7 days of a Match My Frequency challenge, where we're not just going to learn about Venus and Jupiter, but we're going to learn about all the planets. And some of you have already read the book I wrote on this, on Rhythm and Ritual, The Lost Art of Resonance. So we are getting into resonance with the most successful archetypes, energies, expressions of each of these planets. Because like everything, and including these planets, there's a shadow side and there's a expressive side. There's a shadow side, there's a side that maybe feels heavy, and then there's a side that we actually want to aim towards. So for example, so Mars, like that's that energy that makes you want to light your business on fire. But if we can actually like turn towards Mars and the successful aspects of Mars, then we can actually like light a fire under our ass and do way more than we think we're capable of. Actually activate our business, actually show up on days that we don't feel like it, because not everything is about feeling. We also have an active center. There's an emotional center, there's an active center, and there's an intellectual center in every being. Well, every human. I don't know how, my cats don't seem too smart. And then again, they seem like incredibly smart. Like the smartest beings in the world. And then sometimes I'm like, did you just really throw up there? Like, take it outside. So, you know, who's to say? But we each have an intellectual side, an active side, and emotional, right? And it's all necessary. It's all there. We have all the elements. We have all the archetypes. Okay, so I want to know, what kind of facilitator are you? So do you claim the role of coach, mentor, healer, teacher, intuitive, guide, retreat facilitator? There is no right or wrong with this, and we actually don't need to focus on this so much, because what you call yourself is not what attracts clients. It's very a low rung on the ladder, but for you to claim that you are a facilitator of transformation and to want to teach people, to want to guide people, to want to share your gifts, if you can claim astrologer. All this is very beautiful. It helps you to understand, or you to feel and be who you are becoming now. So many of you are already facilitating so much change. So let me know. I need to get my ass going on understanding astrology. FOMO. So you're here now, and actually Ingrid is in my school, and so actually you need to get your ass into inviting people into your program. So like, what I want anybody to know is that you don't need to know anything more to attract clients. You are learning this stuff for you. And you are here. So your ass is here. So no shaming of like, I'm behind. Don't allow yourself that consciousness. Like, it's not helpful. I'm behind. I should have learned this or sooner. No, especially for you, Ingrid, because we talked about you helping people who have awakened later in life. I just think that you should own that, because it's like amazing. Imagine being 50 something and learning astrology and like learning all these new things and learning different expressions of spirit. And I'm teaching it, don't worry, but this isn't a certification course in astrology. This is going to help you to realize and to awaken even more to what is already within you, because ultimately it all comes back, for me, to depth psychology. And Joseph Campbell is a good one to check out and to understand. But the myth of all myths, this hero's journey that we're all on, this is the story that each planet has their own myth. Like Jupiter is related to Zeus. So Jupiter is Roman mythology, and Zeus is Greek, I believe. And so when we start to take a bird's eye view and we realize there's one story, there's triumph, there's tragedy, there's challenges. We're all living our own story. We are all the actors on the stage of our own life, but we also get to be the director. And that is something that we miss sometimes. So I forgot to introduce myself. I know that I know many of you here, but for anybody who doesn't know me, I'm Christina Gomes, and I've been interested in depth psychology and astrology my whole life. Like many of us, I started with horoscopes and understanding I'm a Libra sun. So we all usually know what our sun sign is. And as I grew and understood more and more and got more attracted to astrology, I understood that there's so much. This is a lifelong learning, just like yoga. So the deepest study I've ever done was at the foot of a monk, which was not even yoga philosophy. It was Vedanta philosophy, which is a sister science to yoga. So when I was learning yoga, I was also the asanas, the movements of yoga. I was also learning Vedanta philosophy, which is where the oneness idea comes from, that we are not separate from God, that we are not separate from each other. So you do not need to sit at the foot of the monk to take a certification course in astrology to double your revenue next month. So I want that to be clear. So what you're learning here, you're not missing out on everything. I'm teaching you everything you need to know to double your revenue, which is what you actually want. So that, say you want a 10 extra revenue so that you can take every certification course that you've ever wanted to take, like for you, like that's amazing. So that's what we're here. That's the intention of astrology for us today. And the planets really, and getting to resonance and harmony with the successful aspects of Venus and Jupiter today, but also Mars, because it is a Tuesday. And Tuesday corresponds with Mars. So correspondence means association. And this is what our psyches are doing unconsciously. This is the work of Joseph Campbell. Unconsciously, we are naturally making associations and correspondence all the time. If we can consciously dance with these associations, then we become conscious creators of our life. Then we become unstoppable. Then we become unfuckwithable. Then we become ready to take on the biggest mission that we have this vision, this vision that might scare us to our bones. And how do we complete this mission, or how do we walk it? Because our mission is never complete. Like we're just, if our missions are complete, we don't need to be alive anymore. So we're here. We're here walking, expanding, right? Jupiter is the planet of expansion. So we're expanding. And yes, so I learn as I go, and I do not know everything about astrology. I don't know the trines, the squares, the aspects just yet so deeply. But what has come naturally to me, and quite possibly has become natural to all of you, are these associations, because they're hidden in the collective consciousness. They are already there. And all of a sudden we hear this myth and it pulls up something in us that is like resonates with our soul. Okay? Resonates with our soul. So I'm going to drop some knowledge on you right now to help you to understand astrology, the basics of, and how we're going to use it today. So the planets represents actors, the actors on a stage. So if we're looking at a stage, the stage of our life, the planets represent the actors. The planets represent us. We are the actors, okay? And each planet has a distinct personality and role. So if we are the actors of our own life and we're taking the stage of life, I wrote a song and one of the lines was, "The whole world is a stage, I'm just playing my part. The whole world is a stage, I'm just playing my part." I've been challenged to sing online more, so so there we go. So that's the stage. So we're just playing the part of the role of our life, right? And we actually have a lot more control. Then we're not just being flung around like, oh, I guess the universe is out to get me now. Like, oh, I guess this shitty things happen to me now. I guess I have to have a shitty attitude. Oh, this happened again. I guess this is just my lot in life. No, y'all are beyond that. I know it already. But these things can creep back up when we're going to that next level. So the planets drive the action and they bring specific energies to the performance. Like Venus, representing love and beauty and relationships and harmony. We're going to use Venus today to double your revenue. We're getting to that. Or Mars, representing action, purpose, drive. Or Jupiter, representing expansion, higher knowledge, wisdom. Okay. Now the houses are the sets. So this is my set. This is my setup. So beautiful. These are my crystals. This is my setup. So the houses are fun too. I love my house. I hope you love your house too, and I hope you make your house a home. But the houses are the sets or the different areas of the stage where the action takes place. So each house represents a different area of life, like relationships, career, home, and they provide the context for where the planets or the actors perform their roles. At home, I am different than when I'm out, actually. And that whole story can be looked at in my chart, okay? And at home, the house of home, the fourth house, for those of you who are advanced, it's okay. Like the fourth house is the house of home. And my Pisces moon is in the fourth house. So I am much more mystical in my house. Outward, like if you see me out, I'm like, I could be a social butterfly, I could be a Libra, I could be like, tactful and like socializing and very Sagittarius. I have a lot of energy like that. But at home, this is where I pray. This is where I sit by the fire. This is where I have my altars. And no matter your chart, like you just want to see how you behave at home. Like what are your patterns at home? And if you want to behave a certain way, you can call in the energy of a different planet, right? You're not stuck by your home experience. You're not stuck by your past. So if the blueprint is a glimpse of who you were when you were born, the life that you chose, there's something I learned early on in my spiritual awakening, which was contract revocation. So if we have soul contracts, if you have the belief similar to mine that we actually choose our parents, we choose our names on somebody, this is in one of the ancient religions, if anybody knows it. But anyway, we choose our names, like we whisper our names to somebody special in our lives, and then we get our names that way. So our spirit whispers our names to somebody special in our lives, and it might have been your grandmother who named you, or you might be named after your grandmother, or I was named after a soap opera character. Very interesting, as a triple Libra, and then talking about the stage, and I have a very interesting relationship to fame, and fame is just 50% of people hating you and 50% of people liking you, and being visible in that and being okay with that, being okay with lots of people's eyes on you and not being swayed for the good or bad, not swayed by the accolades and not swayed by the criticism or trolls. So that's amazing. And then the signs are the costumes. So the zodiac signs like Pisces, Aries, Libra are the costumes that the actors wear. They color how the planets express themselves. For example, Mars in Aries, a warrior's costume, will act differently than a Pisces in Aries. Mars in Pisces. Mars in Pisces, which would be a dreamer or mystic's costume. Okay, but showing up, Mars is the planet of action. So Pisces showing up in Mars, these are interesting dynamics to play with. There is no good or bad in astrology, which I love because there is no good or bad in the highest form of spirituality. Obviously, there's good and bad. Like, don't do bad things. Don't hurt people, don't hurt people on purpose. That's bad, right? But ultimately, at the higher levels, at the Leela, the divine play of it all, there's no good or bad. Now, obviously, there's so much that can come with that. But on the stage of our lives, the Leela, the divine play, Leela in Sanskrit means the divine play. We get to put on these costumes. We get to play on these stages. And my therapist was like, what's this deal with you in like performance or practice? Because I was saying, I had this relationship with somebody and it felt like practice, like I was going to be practicing communication, practicing these things. For those of you who are astrology buffs, like my Chiron is in the 7th house. So it was like, 7th house is the house of relationships. And so it's like, it was hurting to keep coming to these relationships and getting, not what I wanted. And it was really feeling in my pain body, because wherever your Chiron is will actually feel painful in that house. Those aspects of the house will feel a little bit more painful than other things. Like if you feel a lot of pain around your career, check if your Chiron is in your 10th house. The 10th house is the house of career. And so, and we're going to go deeper on this. If you choose to work with me, we can go deeper on this. But for now, the invitation is, so my therapist was like, what's this deal with practice and performance? And she made me feel bad about it. Like it wasn't the right way to be. And I'm like, wait a minute. No, if we are conscious creators and we don't yet have the scenes in our lives that we want to have, we actually can use this metaphor to understand that we are the directors. We can set the scenes up. We can ask for what we want. We can ask this person to meet us at this place. We can ask our clients to join us in our offerings. We can ask more people. We can make more invitations. We actually get to set these scenes. You can create a masterclass like this, set the scene, teach on whatever you want. You're a conscious creator. Right? It's limitless. And so we need practice online. I didn't come out of the womb being like, yay, online is fun. It didn't exist. The internet came in my teens. I was like a first one, like with the computer, my friends, like an ancient Mac, or I don't know. It had that. I'm 40. I'm younger. I look younger than I am. But like, the internet was invented in our lifetime, some of us. So, we didn't know. We're not born understanding how to show up on stage. That's why we have acting coaches. That's why I'm sure Diana, our actress, she has practiced for these roles, and we practice our lines. And so practice is okay. Practice is beautiful. You are practicing stepping into the role that you want to see yourself in. And if you want to see yourself and feel yourself and experience yourself as a wealthy as fuck person that has money coming to them easily and is able to circulate it with as much grace, we're going to work with Venus and Jupiter today, which are 2 planets that activate money. Okay? And so why I work with the planets the most is because I'm so fascinated by people. So if people are the actors, as within, so without, as above, so below. So below the people, the actors. Yes, I like the sets. This is cool. This is nice. But people fascinate me. Psychology is what I study because people fascinate me. And so you fascinate me, you as the actor, and actors in movies fascinate me. I don't just stop at watching the movie. I start Googling all the history of my favorite actors, and I want to get to know them as people too. And so in your conscious business, you get to show up like this, as somebody that somebody is Googling. They are going to Google you. The Google it method applies to you. Just know that, because usually before someone hires somebody at a certain level, it becomes less about the offer and just as much about the Google it method of like, they are Googling your ass. What is your brand presence? When they Google you, what are they seeing? What masterclasses are they seeing? What content are they seeing? Who are they seeing? Yeah. And so we are going to become that. We are going to become who you want to become. So we don't even have to look at your chart, although we will, to decide that you want to take on these certain aspects. And we are going to be giving offerings and doing ritual magic to the planet that you want to embody and resonate with. And we need all of these planets to have holistic success. So the book that I wrote that you received if you signed up for this masterclass, well, if you're here, you signed up for the masterclass, but the book that you received in your emails went over this in detail and how to find, and I created a quiz to find which success gap you have, because then you can incorporate ritual magic into your life, okay? Let's see what else we have going on. All right, so I'm also gonna put the chat for the Match My Frequency challenge, because some people might have it and some might not. And I really encourage this 7-day challenge because you're going to learn so much about yourself. And that's what's important. You're going to learn so much about yourself and the future self that you are growing into. And I care just as much about your past. I care more actually about who you want to become than I do about all the things that are holding you back. Yes, when we work together at a certain level, I hold space for those things, because understanding those thoughts, unearthing those thoughts, unearthing those blocks, unearthing what we think is holding us back, holding those moments with care and beauty and shining love on the things that have happened to you, this is how we take action from a more aligned place, a more successful place. This is how we respond and react to things that are happening in our lives with the power of a river. You are flowing towards the sea. We welcome in the sorrow. We welcome in the things that are going to teach us. Emotions are our teachers. These moments in our lives that we feel like are really hard are our teachers. Okay. And so we can, and all teachers are learners. So to hear Ingrid, yeah, I want to learn so much. Like, I hear that because you are this great teacher. You really are. And you are getting that call. Not everybody answers that call. So the fact that you're here answering that call, and all of you have taught so much, even in your content, in the clients that you've held space for at this level, we have a very big, beautiful life ahead of us. And it's a long life. There's no urgency around this. And this is why we're working with Jupiter as well, because we're not trying to create a 10 times goal in 10 days. We are understanding that some things take time and some things can drop in fast, right? And we want to be open for both. Okay, so now we're going to get into some practicalities. So to double your revenue, we need to know what you're making now in your business. And so the first major milestone that I take people to is if they're just starting, maybe they're just starting, or they have like 5K months, or you're like teaching workshops. And if you count it all up at the end of the month, you have like 1 to 2K months, and you just have enough to get by. This is where I was. I've been working for myself for over a decade. So I've had odd jobs here and there, and went back to waitressing a couple of times to be able to hire a mentor. But I've been working for myself for over a decade. And when I was teaching yoga around the world and workshops and being invited, an opportunity to teach at my retreat for free. And it's like, there was a time where that was beneficial for me. And then there was a time of like, you pay me, or you don't get my access to my time and my teachings, right? Now, obviously there's a strategy here that I love giving, and we must give value for people to feel valued, and people must feel valued and seen in order to buy from us. And you better believe that I'm going to offer you an opportunity after this, and stay till the end and stay live or watch the replay if you have to pop off, because there is an opportunity to work with me at 20% off, but it's only for people who engage in this challenge. Okay. So, so if you like are counting up the money at the end of the month and it's just enough to live the life that you have and it's not enough to expand, then we can change that. We can change that with some simple shifts in rituals, but also practicalities. Like there are money making activities that I'm going to share with you today that help you to double your revenue that are not just praying. Prayer is if we're talking about fire, we're Tuesday, Mars Day, like prayer is the fuel to that fire that we're lighting of wisdom and knowledge, that creative fire. And fire is so beautiful. You sit by the fire and you give offerings to the fire. And so fire is a very beautiful, we don't have to be scared of our own inner fire. And a lot of people, I have heard, a lot of feminine embodied people especially, are like, oh, if I'm much of a go-getter, how am I in my feminine? No, the feminine creates. The fire is creative. The feminine creates. Sagittarius is fire, Leo is fire, and Aries is fire. These are very creative archetypes. Sagittarius is the truth seeker with the arrow. Aries is actually like the fool, the actor, like just leaping on the edge of the mountain, just taking action, and is ruled by Mars. And then the Leo is ruled by the sun. And so your visibility, your inner fire, your purpose, these are all fire signs. They're all very, very creative. Leo is the most creative sign. I mean, we could say that about Pisces too. We could say that about them all. There's creative aspects in each and every one, but the Leo is the actor. The Leo is the actor. And it's no wonder that it's ruled by the sun, right? And if you want to be seen on the stage of your own life, then we work with sun energy. Okay, so what else do we have here? Yeah, so we need to know what now you don't have to share it, but if you don't feel safe to share with your coach or mentor or guide so that I can help you with the practicalities of it, then when are you going to feel safe? And you get to be seen in your desires. So knowing what you make, and here's what I want to say about this, is I have not been a fan of numbers my whole life. Okay, like I had a math trauma. So this is this piece of like, it's okay to look at the past. It's okay, but we're not digging around. We're not digging around in the recess of your mind trying to find things. That's not what we're doing here. But if you have an awareness, that's beautiful. But to complete the reprogramming process from a program that's been running, there's been a program in my aura that's been running, in my system that's been running, that I'm not good at math, that I'm not good with money because I'm not good with math. And I had a math trauma that I identified a few years ago that I remembered. I was 9 years old and somebody asked me or the teacher, not somebody, the teacher called on me like, what was 5 plus 4? Oh my God, I froze. I'm still freezing. Like, what if I still don't know? Like everything ancient, frozen. And I was like, I don't know. And I was actually in gifted classes. So I was in gifted classes and everybody knew it. And I'm like sitting there like the gifted one and I can't count. But it wasn't that I couldn't count. It wasn't that I couldn't count. It was that I was really afraid to be seen in that moment. So I associated, and our brains make associations. I associated that I was bad at math. Then I associated I was bad with money. And so I never counted my money. So decades of working for myself, I don't even know. I have already made $1 million working for myself, but I just wasn't counting it. The year that I started to treat my business like a business and stopped treating it like a hobby, treated my desire to teach like a profound and unique business, yes, but like profession. I replaced my income as a psychotherapist. It was very easy for me to be like, accept the check from my psychotherapy degree that I went to, 6 years of school, like to receive. It was very easy to collect that check. And that was hard work. I was working with dark shadows, like the hardest youth who were, Ooh, that was cute. My little babies playing the drum. Yeah, I was working with some stuff. So what was I saying here? Oh, math trauma. Yeah. So I have that awareness, right? And yeah, it was very easy to collect that check. And then when I started working for myself, all of these hidden thoughts that I was bad with money, I was bad with math, all these things were preventing me from treating my business like a profession, treating my desire to teach and coach and guide and mentor and my in these healing arts as a real profession that can earn a lot of money, yes, but a really good fulfilling amount of money. Fulfilling a lot, but it's fulfilling to earn it. Money is cool, but money that you made helping someone transform, guiding them to a transformation hits differently. Okay. So, yeah, so that awareness is fine. But I realized that, and I realized that we don't have to live in the past, and I realized where it came from. So when you have a past awareness, you get to realize you're not dumb, you're not lazy, you're not irresponsible, you're not bad at business, you're not overly masculine or too feminine to run a business. None of these thoughts, like none of these thoughts that society has placed on you. These aren't even your thoughts. Your thoughts and your desires get to lead. You desire to teach, you desire to guide, you get to. So these things could come from somebody specific or just society as a whole. That women or brown women or this type of person or someone with this, if you had a what do they call it, a learning disorder. If somebody put that label on you your whole life, but really you were actually this mystical visionary Pisces, and they put this label on you, learning disorder, you carry that label somewhere in your unconscious at least. And so we want to free ourselves from these labels, and we want to claim the roles that we're here to claim. Sagittarius and Jupiter, Jupiter's correspondence is a great sage. Okay. Venus is like a lover, a harmonizer. So the only way to truly complete the reprogramming of it is to move differently. So you get the awareness, and then you can affirm. You can affirm the opposite. You can go ahead with affirmations. I know I talk a lot about, affirmations don't work, but they don't work if you're just putting perfume over a shit pile. We want to understand what is the true fear, what is deeper than what we think the fear is. And we don't want to just spray it with the perfume of affirmations. We want to move differently. But start with I am safe with money. I am a responsible steward of more money. I am excellent with money. I am an excellent money maker. Jupiter is the energy of excellence, the great sage. So we'll go over Jupiter and Venus more in a moment, but you can affirm these things. I'm actually great at math because you know who's great at math? People with calculators. Come on. And so I'm going to give you some easy math. Who knew I wouldn't need math? And then the math that I look into now is the math on this Enneagram, which was the last masterclass I taught. So I don't want to go too deep into it now, but all of my workshops, classes, courses are based in spiritual math, based in the symbol, and all sacred geometry is math, and the universe is backed. Like when they say the universe has your back, like there's math involved. This is the 7. This is 1 divided by 7 is this. You get this geometrical symbol, which will help you with, it is the hero's journey. So it's exactly what we're talking about here. And each point also corresponds to a planet. So we're not going to go too deep into this, but just allow yourself the magic to wash over you of how everything is truly connected. Okay, everything is truly connected. And I've got you. If you want to go on this hero's journey together with me and incorporate every planet into your holistic success path and actually create the amount of money that you want to every month without fail, this hero's journey cannot fail. I wrote a book on this as well, The Initiation into the System That Cannot Fail. This is called The Master of All Systems, and it correlates to the myth of all myths, which is the hero's journey. So that's in my last masterclass, but today we're talking specifically about the planets, okay, and how I work with them so that you can double your revenue. So, okay, so we need to know how to move differently with money. This is where the magic happens. So we don't stop at affirmations, which is just the, first three points on this creative aim, this journey, this Enneagram, which is a map to reach any creative goal. We don't stop with affirmations because then that would be stopping at point 1 and 2. And actually God's got you, Spirit's got you at point 1 and 2. When you make an intention, when you create an intention, you sound the sound do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's also mapped on this. Everything is connected. You must complete it. If you stopped at re, you're stopping a magical process, and there is consequences. So when you've made the intentions that you've made in the past, so I want to make this announcement where if you start this magical process, and today you're safe, it's fine. What we're doing today is safe. But if you make a decision to go forward and doubling your revenue and 10xing it at some point in 2025, you will complete this goal. But if you quit, you don't start back up from happy, bushy-tailed, bright-eyed, I'm going to double my revenue. You start from bitterness of like shit and these stories of like, I don't complete things and why is this happening to me? This is how we create bitterness and harden in our system. So if you are going to make a decision to create your if you're going to make a decision to double your revenue, you will complete this magical process. There will be, the consequences are you feeling bad about yourself and creating that deeper groove that things just don't work out for you. And we don't do that here. We're not doing that around here, okay? So we need to know how to move differently with money, right? And this is where Venus comes in. So let's dive into this journey, this Venus magical journey. And I want to also share with you my experiences of doubling my revenue. So I started that story that when I started to treat my business like a business and a profession, I replaced my income as a psychotherapist. So that was about $60,000 a year, and I replaced it. And the next year, I practically doubled that, and I made $101,000 in the year. And I want you to know this. As much as we play with math and numbers, we're not gripping to these goals. We get to play with math and numbers, set our intentions, set our goals, and just create. I will teach you how. I don't love don't worry about how, just set an intention. No, that is not a full teaching. That is not a full teaching. The manifestation teachers that are like, don't worry about the how. We're not worried about anything. That's the thing. We don't have to worry to make this creative aim come online and come online with our creative powers. And there is a how. There's a system. There's a way forward. There's hows. Okay. And me being a double Virgo, like I have all the systems, like, let's go. I will create this how with you. Okay. So at the end of the year, I looked and I had double my revenue, but I had the intention of attracting clients. And how we really attract clients is to understand that our clients are not money and where clients come from. So this is why working with bro marketers and working with people who just talk about money, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth as a spiritual entrepreneur. And so I will always talk about money because you get to be paid for your services. Like it's simple. Like I love my clients. My clients are here. They know how much I overgive, and we just get to, a lot of my clients at the end are like, well, you should raise your prices. And it's like, we just get to charge a good amount for our services. I don't disregard my services because I have an accessible offer. I give in that accessible offer. It's a price that I've intentionally charged. It's a soul aligned price for a certain offer. And then other offers are higher end, and that's just the way it is. And if you want a self-paced offer from me, it'll be cheaper, and cheap attracts cheap. If you're sick of attracting clients who feel like they're just going for the cheapest option, raise your prices. But how do we do that really? So Venus helps us to focus on relationships. Our clients are not money. So if we are showing up to a sales call, thinking about our bank account, or thinking about ourselves and how much we need to earn this month, or thinking about our goals and our numbers, we're missing the point really. And so when I show up for these master classes, or when I show up on a call, a discovery call, or a sales call, or an enrollment call, or someone's applied for my mentorship, I'm really looking at them and feeling into them. I want to look at their charts as well, and like understanding who they are and how I can best help them. Because at a certain level, the self-paced courses don't work for us anymore. And they probably aren't working for you if you're delivering only self-paced courses, because your people want depth, and who better to give them depth than you, right? And some of my clients, or some of people in my audience, they're scared of that depth because they in the past have overgiven to their family or people who didn't respect that. So what we are creating is a velvet rope of who gets access to you, because you are a relationship builder. Relationships do come easy to you. You have beautiful relationships in your life, and you're not for everybody. You're not for everybody. Your work and your depth, there gets to be a velvet rope. And if you're channeling, if you are really like sharing sacred wisdom, if you have all this knowledge and you've invested in yourself and all these certifications and all of these things that you have accomplished, then there gets to be a monetary trade that activates that. In I love that Stephanie's here because you work with the Peruvian magic. And Aini is a Peruvian indigenous word for reciprocation. And there will always be a reciprocation. And so even if you're creating free masterclasses like this, I'm receiving your energy. I received your email, and I will chat with you and talk with you. Like, I'm receiving your questions, which helps me become a better teacher. And if you want to receive more from me, there is a service that I provide. This is a service. I am in service. So you are in service for free at some levels. But if you do not have an offer that is highly valued, that you have clarity on, and it's a sought after offer, people actually want to pay money for the way that you're presenting this offer. It's giving people results and transformations that people actually say that they want, not just something that you made up. Like say I invited you to become Jupiter. No, you will become Jupiter. You will become Jupiter in this class, but you are here to double your revenue, to live on mission, because I'm not going to shame that desire in you. It's a true real world desire, and I'm here to serve. Right? So we're using Jupiter we're using, these planets are happily, use me. Like when an actor isn't upset that people have bought their films, right? The Jupiter is like, yes, please, I'm here for you. Let's go. Jupiter is in service. All of these planets are, and Venus is as well. Venus is in service to love. Okay. And you love your clients. You love what you get to do. You love being in service. And so we want to double our revenue. We want to focus on client relationships and audience relationships. So there's a money-making activity that is Venus magic that we are going to practice. So if you want to double your revenue next month, then the focus, you don't have to stop making content. You don't have to stop sending emails. You don't have to stop building your email list. You don't have to stop, building your offer or building that curriculum for your next offer. You don't have to stop any of that. But the invitation is understanding that you have created relationships with people, and they already want to invest in themselves, and they already want a transformation that your gifts, your service, your medicine can provide. So the invitation here is to make a list of those people and to put it on an altar dedicated to Venus. So that could be things that remind you of love, um, associations and correspondence to Venus would be any pink stone. Um, and you can just like look these things up. Like you can, the Google it method is amazing. I am going to create guides and things like that. But offerings on my, like my whole house is a Venus altar. So it's like beauty. I beautify my space. My whole house is a Venus altar. And the color pink, the color green, it's a heart color. I'm looking at my house to pull. But Venus also loves chocolate, foodies. Uh, I don't really drink right now in my life. I come back and forth. But when I was having like a little glass of wine, I would, obviously I'm not going to drink a whole glass of wine to my bottle of wine. Well, not obviously, because I used to, but I'm not going to drink a whole bottle of wine to myself, but I would love to just like open a bottle of wine and I'd feel like, oh, so luxurious. Dionysus, like I'm, cheers to the planet Venus. And I would have a glass of wine with Venus. We are never alone. We are never alone. And I know some people who are solopreneurs or are awakening past like their partners or evolving, it can feel lonely. Reach into the depth of aloneness and be like, we're not alone. Like I literally have wine with Venus. And I talk to myself. And so I'll pour a little out for my homie and I put a glass of wine on the altar. And so offerings are part of this ritual magic, but I put the list. So to be very practical about it, it's like, it's not just about prayer and giving offerings. That's a part of it, but calling those names into your space with so much love as you're working with cacao, which is the plant of love and heart opening, as you're working with your relationship to yourself. Venus isn't just about romantic relationships. It's about relationships, and the relationship to yourself can be a very romantic one. This is how we go from loneliness to aloneness. I am alone a lot and I crave alone time because I love myself. I make myself laugh. I mean, the cats help. The cats make me laugh, but like, if I've spent too much time in the nervous system of others, I also have an open G center, which like is open to other energies, much more open to other energies. And so like if I've spent too much time in other people's nervous systems who are not actively doing the work to calm their nervous system, and altar work will calm your nervous system. This is a way to get out of your mind and put and arrange things on an altar. It's a very Virgo practice, and Virgo is the high priestess, and altar work is systematic. It's like there's grids happening. Okay, there's a system. And even if it's a system that is coming from your intuition, there's no one way to put crystals on a cloth. It's like, go with your intuition. This one smells good. This one smells rich. This one reminds me. So rose quartz, I have a lot of rose quartz. And you just get to play. You can Google this stuff, but you also want to tap into your intuition here. And what plants remind you of love and relationships, and putting those names of people that you would love to work with. And then the next step is the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. So if we're following up from a place of, oh shit, I need to make my monthly revenue this month, and then we start following up with people from a sense of urgency, this is just a different planet. This is maybe Mars. And this is why it might feel aggressive. And this is why it might feel to some like cold DMing. But this is not cold DMing. These people are people you know or can call up in your consciousness. If you've had one conversation with someone or one new person has followed you, why not reach out to that person that followed you and ask them if they have any questions about the upcoming masterclass that you're hosting? It's free. Would they like to join? Or you wrote this free book. Can you send it to them? You have this freebie. Can you send it to them? Or you have a session that, that is not free. And hey, I see that you're into this and this and this. I checked you out. Thanks for the follow. It's about relationship building, and conscious business building always has been about relationship building. So when I say I stopped treating my business like a hobby and started treating it like a profession, I started caring more. I allowed myself, and I had such bad experiences with people that of course I closed my heart to relationships. So, Chiron in the seventh house, I had closed my heart to relationships. And yet I also needed to open my heart to new relationships and to be the leader of them, to lead people into a relationship with themselves, to lead people into a relationship with my work, my content. People have relationships to everything. Okay? So if they are having a relationship to your platform of choice, this is how we bring the soul back into social media, which is what my next live experience is all about. Ritual, rhythm, and resonance is all about bringing the soul back into social media so that you can double your revenue and 10x your revenue and attract clients with an energy that really is, we're working with astrology, we're working with the planets, but when you're working with the planet Venus, you want to form a relationship to your altar, and then you want to form a relationship with everybody you put on that altar. So my potential clients get such beautiful follow-up emails. Sometimes I'll even go into Canva, and Canva lets you do documents now, and I'll some of you might have saw that story I put, like I am writing love letters to my client's journey at the mentorship level. At the school level, that's for volume. There's a lot of people in my school and there will continue to grow, but the mentorship level, this is exclusive, high end, and I have space and time to pour into my clients in this way. So I write a love letter to their journey. Imagine that. Imagine you approached your business tasks like a Venus goddess, like that. Amazing. So great. So toys all over the place. Your home inspires me. So what I want you to know is my Venus is in Virgo. So this is why my Virgo is very organized. They're the high priestess. So this is my temple. So everything is organized, right? But it's okay. Like maybe a Venus and Aries might be a little bit more messy. And that's beautiful because there's beauty in the mess. In showing up and allowing yourself to be seen. Like when you're a full-time mom, it's not about picking up every toy on the ground. The beauty could come from your expression, what you're saying, right? So beauty comes in many forms and we build relationships in many forms, but language builds relationship. Language is a bridge between you and your offers. So your message and building a beautiful message that connects to the heart of who you're speaking to is also a way to infuse Venus magic into your business. Amazing. Venus and Aries could be more messy. So I think of Aries, and these are just my own interpretations of these archetypes. And how I have become an astrologer is I study these archetypes through people. Some of you know our mutual friend Rob, who is the total archetype. He's an astrologer, but he's the total archetype of the Aries, who is also the archetype of the Fool in the tarot. And when we realize that everything is connected, and we see it's also the archetype of the fast-moving fire, and it's the archetype of the one who just trusts. And if you see the Fool card, they're on the edge of the mountain, just like with flowers, just like trusting. And you know, any Virgo is going to be like, get off the mountain. Any hover mom, I'm a hover aunt. I'm like, get off the side of the mountain. Like it is what it is. But it's not even about a messy house. It's like, it's about leaping. It's about leaping into others that might be too scary, but we must leap. We must show up before we know exactly what we're saying. I have notes, I have bullet points, but the best part of these masterclasses is answering your questions and just pulling from the downloads that I receive in the moment and trusting that process. That is an Aries process. I don't have a lot of Aries in my chart, but we all have Aries in our chart. We all have Mars in our chart. Mars is the ruler of Aries. And so you get to see what planet is in your Mars and here's how I want to teach you all to do this. Now, in my program, Rhythm, Ritual, and Resonance, And if you join me at the school level, you get 2 live experiences, at least 2 live experiences. If you join me at the school level, you get ritual, rhythm, and resonance, and then whatever's next. And I think it'll be about sales, or it'll be about vocal toning too. Maybe I'll combine them. It'll be either about sales or vocal toning, or how they're combined. And Aries is also very creative, that the spark of the creativity, the spark. And so, what was I saying? Oh, yes. So how I learn astrology, because I am interested in me as the actor in my life. So, and I'm interested, like I see this archetype expressed in these people. And because my friend is an astrologer, he will usually point out that he's in his Leo. And then you see him transform into a lion. And then he'll usually point out that he's in his Aries. And you'll see him blowing up at something. Because Aries, the shadow side, can be immature. It's the first, which is, there's such a beauty in childlike expression. The immature, there's nothing wrong with that, because immature can have a negative connotation, but whenever you are up leveling, you have to accept that you're a beginner now. And so we go through the chart again, and we become Aries again. It's the first on the chart. So it's like there's such a beauty in a childlike, like I'm going to do this thing. And they're the ones that don't ask how. They're like, I create the how through my body. This is how you walk on the cliff. This is how you do the things. And they're just like, bing, bing, bing. And they start and they initiate, sort of like a manifester in human design. So fun. Venus and Aries here. So fun. Exactly. And the thing that Aries gets to look out for is finishing the creative projects. So finishing those creative projects. And that's so curious, because a lot of you I know, and we took the quiz of like what deficiencies we had. Deficiencies sounds so naughty. Sounds so Virgo. What are you deficient in? Nerdy. Like, what deficiencies do you have? I'm so Virgo. When it comes to my career, yes, I want to give you a pathway forward. I want to give you like the high priestess vibes. I want to show you, I want to invite you into the temple of your own transformation. And when we don't have a lot of Saturn energy, when we don't have a lot of discipline, it can be very easy to start things and then be like, well, I started it. Like fun. And manifestors might have this as well. You start things and you're the initiator, but we all must complete things, unless you're a manifestor who has a lot of money. If you're a manifestor, then you get to make a lot of money so that you can have generators carry out the vision and you can just initiate. But at first, if we don't have that yet, it's okay. We're working to live fully in our design. And we can all finish things using the power of Saturn and harmonizing with Saturn, which would be like, here's your schedule and here's how you show up even if you don't want to. I gave this imagery of like, just like Saturn's like daddy, and Saturn's like a good daddy. It's like, if you went through a heartbreak, I can just imagine, there's this like little girl in me who went through a heartbreak, but I had my summer job and I was scooping ice cream in my summer job. And there's this image of like, just like daddy being like, hey, I know you're heartbroken, but you have an appointment. Like you have to show up for your life. You have to show up or you'll be fired. You have to show up for your life. And like, but from a loving place of like, okay, you cried, great. Now go to work, show up for work, and that's it. That's it. And to have that level of devotion. It's like Saturn could be seen as this disciplinarian, but for me, it's very devotional. It's like I show up, even if I show up for my calling, even if somebody was mean to me. Like I'm no longer willing to keep losing my jobs and keep losing potential clients because I'm not showing up. I'm no longer willing, and I have always had a Saturn deficiency. I don't like to be disciplined. Or do I? And so like we can play with these things, and it's all about play. Okay. So Venus and Aries could be more messy. So it could take more initiative action. Now, I'm also into helping people with refinement as the high priestess, double Virgo. Like we can refine, but we cannot refine something that isn't created. Refinement comes from creativity, from creating the thing. So you will get better at live videos. You will get better at hosting these masterclasses. I am no longer nervous for these masterclasses, but the first time I went live, like 7 years ago, I thought I was going to die. I thought I was going to die. And it was in a small group. It was in a tiny group where I was safe. And I was like, sweating. And I have been on stage, and I have blanked on stage. Some of you have heard that story of me singing on stage at 17 years old, and I blanked, and I forgot the words to the national anthem. No one forgets the words to the national anthem, and no 9-year-old really doesn't know what 5 plus 4 is. It's 9, right? It's 9. And there's 9, which is so interesting. Everything's connected. There's 9. Look for the synchronicities. There's 9 points, 9 lines on the Enneagram. All my offerings are backed by an Enneagram so that you can't fail. I plan these things out with such precision, the precision and refinement of a double Virgo high priestess. And I would have never got to this point if I didn't just start like an Aries, like a fool, just believing in the power of love, just believing in love. Okay. Venus and Aries, just going to keep fighting for love. You're going to keep fighting for what you love. You're going to fight for your client's vision. You're not going to let your clients quit. You're going to fight for their vision. You're going to be like, you said that you wanted this. Let's go. I love you enough to tell you what I see. Right? So this is how all of these archetypes exist within us, because my Venus is in Virgo, but I love you enough to give it to you straight a lot of the times. In a very loving way, in a gentle way, in like a loving daddy, to be like, hey, you had this goal, you had this deadline, you didn't meet it. That's okay. Something happened to you. Are you willing to pick it back up? And sometimes I encourage my clients to quit. Is that crazy? I'll just give you this for a moment because it might affect somebody. When a lot of people I work with are rebels, which is an Aries. I think all archetypes are rebels, like all spiritual inclined people are rebels, because we're going against the norm, right? And so when I'm like, hey, quit, you are not obligated to make money online. There are easier ways to make money. It's called clocking in and clocking out. And they're like, that's not easier. Okay. For some of us, it is so hard to go live. For some of us, it is so hard to be consistent. But it is harder to clock in and clock out at a job that isn't fulfilling. And so if you're able, because we all need to work, okay? I sat at a talk with Elizabeth Gilbert live in Hawaii, and was so interesting. I thought it was going to be a different speaker, and it ended up being her. And I was like, whoa, like Eat, Pray, Love changed my life. And then Big Magic, she wrote that. And it was such a beautiful book on creativity. And my brand is freeyourcreativity.org. Like that's my website. And so creativity and conscious creativity and being a creative and being an artist, I'm a singer-songwriter, all of these things. And like you, I'm an artist first. So you might be an artist first. And the thing that she was talking about was how she was becoming a writer. And she just kept coming to this woman saying like, I want to be a writer. I want to be a writer. I want to be a writer. And finally the lady was like, and she's like, but I have all these jobs and I don't have time to write. I have all these jobs and I don't have time to write. And she's like, you live in New York City. Everyone has 3 jobs. When are you creating time to write? And the lady finally said that to her. Like Venus and Aries, like give it to her loving. Like, when are you creating time to write? This is also very Saturn. Saturn is the ruler of time. And so it's like, when are you creating time to write? And sometimes it's as easy as I take out my calendars with my clients and I'm like, where? So that brings me to the rhythm in your business. If you don't have a rhythm that you like yet, then you want to continue on with this 7-day masterclass. So why there's a lot of Mars energy coming on, or the 7-day challenge rather. This is the masterclass, and we'll have 7 days. I'll do lives or I'll do little videos, but it'll all be in that chat that I gave you earlier. But Tuesday is corresponding, associated with the planet Mars. And this is why I'm giving it to you straight. And this is why I work on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So Wednesday is associated with Mercury. And Mercury is the speaker and the salesman and like talking. And so I have a lot of my content creation days on, it's the messenger. So if you look into the myths and the legends of Mercury, it's the messenger god. And messaging is incredibly important. The money comes from your message, because how do you create a relationship with your potential clients? You will reach out to them, but what message are you sharing with them? When you reach out to them, what are you saying? And I have scripts, and my clients ask me, what can I say? And I give ideas, but ultimately being genuinely curious and caring, like Venus, like loving these people for being humans and having these desires and these challenges and wanting to help them to the next step. It's like, it's so beautiful, right? So Mercury is the messenger. And then Thursday I work, Thursday's related to Jupiter. Thursday. And who's our native Spanish speaker? I live in a Spanish, I don't want to say these words wrong, but we have a native Spanish speakers here. But miércoles. Did I say that right? Is that a bad accent? I'm just like, I'm brown, but I'm a girl from the States. Anyway, that's a whole other day for an ancestors masterclass. But really, Jupiter is associated with Thursday, and you could look up the god Thor. And it's about expansion and higher learning. And so I love to work on those days as well. And we don't work on weekends, but like as a society, but Saturday is associated with Saturn. And Saturday is a day to be dignified. And so someday I'll create content on a Saturday. And it's like, because it doesn't feel like work. It's not overworking to be creative on the internet and to create art. If you were going to create art on a Saturday, if you're going to create art, save your art for the weekend, this is art. Sharing your message, being funny or relatable or deep or vulnerable or educational on the internet is art. These are little pieces that you're writing or sharing, and that's really beautiful. So I can go over the days, all of them. Friday is Venus Day. Sunday is Sunday. Monday is Moon Day. Tuesday, Mars. Wednesday, Mercury. Thursday, Jupiter. And so these are the planets that we focus on, and we can create a rhythm within this. So you can take that quiz and see where's the gap in your energy. But ultimately, like, you can do these rituals on any day. I have a Venus altar for every day, because every day I want to do a money-making activity. And the money is in the message, and the fortune is in the follow-up. So the money is the message, and your message is your magnetizer, and the fortune is in the follow-up. So people think that the more followers you have, the more money you make. But it's how you speak to those followers that actually makes you money. This is why you can see people with 100,000 followers, 1 million followers, and they might not have an offering that's fulfilling and be making six figures. They might not be selling anything at all. So it's not about how many followers you have. It's about how you're connecting with them and speaking to them. Amazing. Okay, so let's check out and French. That's so fun. Jueves. Okay, so much fun. I love this. Okay, so now these classes are usually 90 minutes, but I have time for a half more hour. And I would love to give this bonus that I came up with afterwards. This bonus of working with Jupiter to 10x your goal. So you have discovered what is double for you. And you have discovered that working with Venus energy, connecting with your clients, and building a relationship with your audience and your clients, because your clients can re-enroll in things. I've had clients join me at a higher level. I have clients that were at a high level and re-enrolled in my mentorship. I've had clients that went from the mentorship and then wanted to continue on in the school. It doesn't matter where, or, this is like what you desire, what level of support you desire to give, and what level of support you desire to receive. And they could be different. Like, I like working one-on-one with mentors, and I also like giving at the group level. It's all okay. And when you have a mixture of it all, this is multiple streams of revenue coming from your gifts. So, we can get to that depending on where you're at. However, so creating relationships, it all matters. Like, at any level, whether you want to host people in a $10,000 offer, or you want to host people in a $500 course, and you want to guide them, teach them, and invite them in to the home of your offering, to the temple of your offering, then relationships are what matters, okay? And so you can look at where Venus is in your chart and what planet is there, but either way, shifting your energy and focusing on this is going to help, right? It's going to help. And however you want to create those relationships is how they're going to be created. Like, they say that a Venus in Virgo is in its detriment. And so even hearing that, I have always thought that I was in a detriment, Venus in Virgo. That's just where my Venus is. But when we see that, like, everything has a light aspect, and yes, it is going to be harder for a man to have access to me, for a partner to have access to me. There will have to be a little bit more perfect. I'm sorry. And this has helped me so much to not waste my time on people that don't meet my standards. Easy. And some people could say, wow, people are not perfect. They're going to have to be better than what I've seen to have access to me. And that's it. So we can, like, really utilize these archetypes to set standards in our lives. And to hear, oh, it's in its detriment, is not going to serve you. So we don't even have to look at your birth chart and look at it from a place of, like, what you're capable of. You can just see that you want to create relationships, and you're going to have to take action. You're going to have to activate Mars. You're going to have to reach out. Yep. And you're going to have to be brave to reach out. And you're going to have to activate Venus, because you're going to have to reach out in a loving way. You're going to have to actually want to serve these people. And if you're waiting to the end of the month to reach out because you didn't meet your revenue goal, then that's going to come across. If you genuinely want to help people, then reach out from a place of curiosity, and it'll change the responses that you get. So we're going to move into Jupiter now, and we're going to see how we can 10x that goal. So here's what's so cool. So say you're making 5K months, a jump to 10K months is pretty cool, right? A jump to 10K months is pretty cool. So that could either mean that you raise your prices or you attract more clients. If you don't have space and time to attract more clients, maybe you're creating a group offer so that you are moving from one-to-one into group. Or maybe you are attracting more clients at a higher price point, or, how there are many different ways that we configure a doubling your revenue, but it all comes down to attracting more clients. So if you want to make more money, you can double your revenue and attract more, double your prices, or raise your prices and attract more clients at a raised price, or you can have an offer that allows you to guide one-to-many. And that's a cool way as well. If you want personal help with this, let me give you all a link. Now, if you're in the school level already, I don't have a lot of time for these calls. So these are not, one-to-one calls. These are for me to help you see if you can upgrade, or these are for me to help you see what offer for the next step could be right for you. So I'm going to pop that in. It's not a free call for people who are in my school who do not want to upgrade. It's an opportunity to see, like, what offer could be better for you. So I'm going to pop that call in. So this isn't a free call. This is for me to help you see how I can help you further. Okay. If you're resonating with this, if you want to double your revenue and then 10x it in 2025, I have different levels of offerings. So if you like groups and you like learning, I have that level. If you know you want to be guided, white glove treatment, have access to me in between the calls, me reading your birth chart, me memorizing your birth chart and working in that way with me, that's another level. And I have self-paced courses that'll teach you how to write words that sell as well. So I have something for you if it's me that you're resonating with. If it's my work and me, those are the only people that I work with. I don't want anybody coming to these calls who needs convincing. Go through my book, my content, and all of these things to decide if my vibe, if you haven't figured out if my vibe is right for you in an hour and 40 minutes, I don't know what's going to get you there, but like, that's okay. I only work with people that I vibe with. So it's also an opportunity for me to give you, if you're not ready for the mentorship level, then for me to give you some assignments to get you ready. If you want that like high level mastermind, high level mentorship from me, I ask that my clients are at a certain level and show up in a certain way. So that's pretty cool as well. So let's move into 10xing. So we know what double, and you can share that, okay? But 10xing is going to bring up a whole nother level, okay? 10xing is like, if you're like, oh, how am I gonna double my revenue? 10x it, because you're gonna get, your blocks are going to unearth themselves. The thoughts that you get to shift are going to finally present themselves. So when we have little goals, like going from 2K to 4K, a goal that really won't change our life that much, then it's a safe way to say, I don't have to become someone different. Change is scary, but staying where you are in a life that you don't belong is scarier. So we want to 10x this goal. So a 10x goal for me would be 100K months, not years, months. A quantum leap for me would be 100K months. You better believe, even though my mentors have done it, even though there's people that I follow that are doing it all the time, you better believe I get the same thought that I had when I started of like, how are you gonna, where are you gonna get the time? Who do you think you are? That's for that person, but you're too brown for that. All the thoughts come back around. And it's such an honor, Rumi's Guest House, such an honor to open the door to these thoughts that I thought that I kicked out of my town years ago, welcome them back in and laugh in their face. They're not going to control me, but I want to take a look at them. I want to say, okay, you're back. You're back for some milk and cookies. You give them milk and cookies and you honor them, because we need to understand that we're scared and why. We need to understand fear is not something that you want to move from, but it's not something you want to hide from yourself. Oh, I'm fearless. I had these two friends that got tattooed fearless on themselves, and they were the most scared people I ever met. They had so much anxiety. So I get that of like going like, I want to be fearless, and who do I get to be more fearless? Like, what actions do I need to take to become somebody that is more fearless? What thoughts do I need to think? What energy do I need to have to actually be a fearless person? But I realized that I really was a fearless person. Like, I was always the one to go first. I remember, and don't ride elephants, but this was before before I knew you weren't supposed to ride elephants. And I was in Thailand, my first year traveling, like over 10 years ago. And they were like, who wants on the elephant? And I was like, me. And I remember even being 5 years old and someone being like, who wants to share? And I was like, me. And that could be you too, natural born leader. And you've always gone first. And if not, success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. So I've always been a natural born leader, and yet I still don't have 100K months. And I'm seeing people who I've watched them grow. I've watched them grow. I was following them when they were, at 100K years like me, watch them grow. And I'm like, oh, okay. So success leaves clues. And so whatever you're naturally amazing at, keep that up. But you can call on these different planetary energies to have a holistic success. So if you're a natural leader, then maybe you don't need as much Mars energy and you don't need to focus as much on Mars. If you're a natural warrior where you're just like, I can get through anything, maybe you don't need as much Mars. Maybe you get to check out the planet Jupiter, because Mars is quick action. Mars and Mercury are quick. They're quick action. Jupiter and Saturn are long-term vision. So Jupiter is like a great-grandfather, a great-grandfather. He's smoking a cigar. What do I got? What's a cigar like? There we go. He's smoking a cigar. Oh, this is cute. This is really cute. So I'm going to take a picture. He's smoking his cigar. And he's like, all right, darling, this is how you do it. This is how you do it, okay? You make an altar. This is what Jupiter likes, okay? So if you have cigars, put it on your altar. Put it on a Jupiter altar. He likes steak. He likes a fine steak, a scotch, an aged scotch, okay? And he's like, so you want to put your funds over here. You want to put your time over here, okay? Higher learning also, higher learning. When I ever have my East Coast accent, I'm from Rhode Island, I actually didn't know that people thought this, because I grew up like really in the worst part of Rhode Island. There's only one place that has more crime than where I grew up in Rhode Island. But people will think Rhode Island, ooh, Newport, mansions, yachts, ocean state, it's oceans. No, I grew up around crime. But that East Coast accent, like it's associated, the correspondence is like really like higher learning. These schools that people go to, I don't know, Yale's over there, Northeastern, I don't know. So like all these schools where Goodwill Hunting, where they have these accents. So like it's also it's like I put on my great grandfather accent, my East Coast accent. I graduated Yale, smoke my cigar, drink my scotch, and I'm giving you the downloads. That's Jupiter. It's expansive, old-timey energy. It's higher learning. It's monk energy. So my monk, the monk that I sat with was huge. He was so fat. He was like this. He was so fat, but he was very round. Jupiter is very round. I have Jupiter in my first house, and your first house will be how you look also, and your personality. So I can get round. There's nothing about me that's skinny. And these things are genes, yes. But like if we chose our birth chart and we chose our parents and we chose our birth charts, we chose our time of birth, we chose all this. I chose to be Jupiterian, to be round. I have a lot of Jupiter energy. Jupiter's in my first house, and my first house is Sagittarius, and Jupiter's ruled by Sagittarius. Now, this is all high level, but I'm going to give you a document that shows you Venus and Jupiter and what house and what expressions to double your revenue. But to 10x your revenue, it's not going to happen overnight. Success doesn't happen overnight. So what actions are you taking now? Who are you being now? What thoughts are you having that are long-term? The long-term vision. So if the long-term vision is eventually you standing on stage, but you're scared to go live next week, that's okay. That's okay. Because Jupiter knows, like he's a great grandfather. He knows that you're going to go through so many different versions of you and different aspects of you. And they're always going to align you to that mission, because you cannot not be on mission. You might be a little bit veered off into like this little side path, and you're like eating poisonous berries over here in the side path. And we just want to look to Jupiter to be like, wait, what was that long-term mission again? And am I being that person now? So if that person stands on stage internationally speaking to crowds, but that also makes us quiver in our bones, we start with a live. We could start with a recorded video. It doesn't even have to be live. You will have to go live sooner than later, though. Things like that. And it's about bringing these fears up in our body and not casting them aside, Rumi's guest house, not closing the door in their face, breathing through them, recognizing that we are alive. If you're afraid of embarrassment, go out there and embarrass yourself on purpose. If you're afraid of being cringy online, we have to. We're going to be cringy to somebody. But the more cringes that we get from people who are not aligned, the more they're like, oh my God, that's my girl. That's my girl. So Jupiter and Venus dance together. It's like Venus is this now. How am I creating a relationship, being vulnerable with my people now? Because the long-term vision of me. So the long-term 10x goal, like if I, so that 100K month, for you, it might be a 20K month. But it's going to require you to be different now to create that 20, to set yourself up to be somebody who holds that. Because if you are not somebody who easily receives 20K months, anyway, you'll just get rid of it. And that was my problem for years and years and years. When I was being able to create money, I didn't feel worthy enough to hold it. I didn't feel worthy enough to have generational wealth, because the generational trauma in my lineage is just like, I didn't have any models of generational wealth. But if we go back in our lineage, there's a fucking queen. There's people that you can't even feel right now. There's a queen that was rich, that had pearls and things everywhere, like a real queen, like ruled over a queendom, a matriarch in Africa, like, and she had riches and gold, and they were rich. Like, I don't have to look at my ancestors who were enslaved. I can look and feel that woman in my lineage. Okay. And that's like a more, that's what we don't always know. We don't always know, and we don't have to go to shamans. But if we look and we understand that Jupiter is in all of our lineage, and that great grandfather that knows how to invest money, that cares about the 7 generations below, of like them being wealthy as well, like that's amazing. And what will I need to learn? So higher knowledge is not about learning just like little things in the moment. Little things in the moment we need, like, it's cool to know the archetypes of Jupiter, but like investing in a stock that is gonna rise long term. Like, this is not really what I'm teaching. I'm not a financial advisor. But like, when I look to Jupiter, then I know that that's my next move. And I read the book from her first 100K from what's this creator's name? But she's the financial feminist. And so I'm reading those books. So you learning and growing is just gonna be natural, but you don't have to teach everything that you're learning and growing into. I don't have any desire to be a financial advisor, but I have desire to understand how my money that I make, when I do have these $50,000 months and $100,000 months, that I'm not just going, woo, let's buy a yacht. Like, that's like new money. That's like that Aries money. That's like, I just made a bunch of money. Let's buy a yacht. That's why I have 100 crystals. That's why I have 100 crystals and no yacht. Because I worked with other planets, but now we want to work with both planets, right? We want to work with them all. Saturn, long-term discipline, not to buy the yacht now so that I can buy 5 yachts later, things like that. But we also want to learn how to circulate our money. So the things that you want to invest in now. So when we're working with Jupiter, then we invest in higher learning. We invest in learning how to market ourselves, because that is a timeless skill. So you learn how to market yourself, because that is a timeless skill. If you know how to market and sell any offer, then you will never not be wealthy. Meaning you will always know how to create money. You will always know how to create money, because I like having 1 or 2 offers that gain generational like wisdom. Like, they get better and better over time. This is what I like. And yet, say next year I want to start selling jewelry again. It is the same skills: messaging, relationship building, speaking to people, and long-term vision. It's the same skill. And you are capped in your wealth when you work for other people. Now we just have to have 3 jobs, however many jobs, to pay the bills, but that's not what we're talking about here. Eventually, everything will start to click. It takes time, but eventually your business will do more than pay your bills, right? It'll do more than pay your bills. Double your revenue might pay your bills, might allow you to quit the job. But 10xing and thinking that 10x goal will allow the fears that you're carrying to come up, and then I will coach you through them if you decide to work with me long term. Easy peasy. And long term could be a month. I have a month-long private offer. I have a year-long group offer, and you can take that in 6 months. And I have a 4-month deep dive, like white glove treatment, and there's only 2 spots left in that. So hit me up while you can. So let's leave the last few minutes for questions. I would cry if I had 10K months. Exactly. Oh my goodness. I thought it was going to take so much longer. And then the moment that I started taking my business like a profession, meaning I put out the masterclasses, I showed up live, I had a 10K week in just a few months. And so then it was like 10K was the norm. And it's like that person that we thought would never drop in, that we thought was going to take so long to be, we actually collapsed the timeline for when that happens. And then 30,000 months become more accessible. But this plan, right? This plan. So the money-making activities for Venus is, who are you reaching out to, right? The plan was, make that list, put it on your altar, pray for these people, and envision people that you don't even know are there. There are people in your periphery that have been reading your content, that have been looking at your words, that have been opening your emails, if you don't have emails yet, that have been reading your words, that are ready to work with you now, that haven't even read your words yet and are ready to work with you and your medicine. They're out there. They're there. Vision them too. Call them in your consciousness. So you have the names of the people that you know, but then the people in your consciousness that are just lights. How do we turn their lights on to your work? That's through your message. So if you don't have a magnetic message yet, you're not sure, if you're saying the right thing, you're creating all this content, it's not converting to clients, then I invite you to get on a call with me and to work with me. I would invite you to get on a call with me, and I will ask you a few questions to help us both understand what is going to help you to share that message. Because I do have, if it's money, if you really, really don't have the money, I have a self-paced course that is not expensive. But when we aren't willing to invest the money, cheap attracts cheap. So if you're going for the cheapest thing all the time, this is why you're getting people on calls that, even if they have the money, are behaving in cheap ways. And you're like, oh, I have to convince this person to spend money on themselves. No, the message that I help you to create will call in people who are not buggering around trying to get the cheapest thing. They want real help. And your offer is that real help. And we want to position and speak about your offer as being that real help. And so any questions, pop them in. And so the Jupiter plan. Okay, so we want to we want to actually write down like what's standing in the way of 100K months, what's standing in the way of 10K months, what's standing in the way of 20K months, what's standing in the way of 50K months, what's standing in the way. What is standing in the way, and what are our limits? Because limits create a style. So if something is standing in the way, with style, we can walk the fuck around it. We let things stand in our way. We're like, oh, the thing that's standing in my way is I feel a debilitating fear when I turn the camera onto me. Turn the camera onto you more often, or get a different job. Because you're not going to activate a personal brand if somebody can't feel your personhood. And so you desiring a personal brand and you desiring to be paid for your gifts means that you were designed for it. And this fear is not your design. This fear is just something that humans get. Fear is an opportunity to build character. The fear is an opportunity to feel something also. right? Fear is very sensational. And oftentimes we're just looking for sensations. This is why spending money is so fun. So a non-Jupiter, would be like, wee, spend it on the yacht. But a Jupiter would be invest in myself, in my learning and how to sell, not my learning in another certification. So I have something else to teach, but no clients to teach it to. Let me say that again with a little, I got my grandfather voice on. I am not asking you to invest in another certification. You know that you are a leader in what you know. I am asking you to invest in the skills that I teach: marketing, sales, and messaging for soul-led leaders. Because you can invest in a cheap marketing course that is a cookie cutter marketing course, and they're not going to be looking at who you are, your lifestyle, the fact that you might be a mom, or the fact that you've tried this 5 times and failed and what that brings up in you. They're not going to look at that, but I am. Okay. And so you want to invest in support, especially if you want to support others. And this is very Jupiterian. This is grandfather. This is big. This is abundance mindset. This is knowing that life is long, that there's many years of success to be had, and who you are becoming gets to drop in faster when we behave in that way. So what is that person doing that is making 100K months? They're investing in themselves. I make investments in myself all the time, even though it doesn't logically make sense. I'm not at 100K months yet, but to get there, there's some, I want support. It's not always about learning something new. The women that are supporting me right now, they're not teaching me anything that I don't teach. They're supporting me, and they're holding me accountable, and they're there for me. And I have homework I got to complete. So now I don't drag my ass. So I hope that I can be that for some of you in a very loving way. I call it soul work, but I'm also really somebody who likes to give true accountability, meaning I would rather teach you how to be somebody who holds themselves accountable, because we got 4 months, right? We got anywhere from 4 months to a year, depending on how long you want to work for me and at what level. And if anybody wants to know those levels, price points, I'll go over them in a second, but we're closing up this masterclass with what to do with Jupiter energy. So let me close with this. Life is long. That's Jupiter. It's abundance. You're going to learn so many different things. You're going to learn from experience. Higher learning is learning from experience. Higher learning. I awakened at the foot of a monk because it was an experience. I understood oneness from psychedelics and sitting at the foot of the monk. Yes, he taught, but he taught with stories. He taught from a 3rd level teacher, which was a mix of stories. He wasn't teaching from pain. He wasn't teaching from just books. He was teaching from metaphor and myth and legend and understanding that we needed it all to really ascend to where we want to go. The fastest way to make more money, the fastest way to ascend, to get to that next level, is to bring somebody to where you just were. So it's not about learning and getting a whole new certification, because you're on that path. Jupiter will bring you to what you want to learn for you. And that will always help you to make more money, because building your character and learning through experience and learning through tough experiences will build your character. And you want to be somebody who has stories to tell. You want to be somebody who is vulnerable and sharing from their mistakes as well. You don't want to paint yourself as this perfect person who has it all figured out. No, I share from my mistakes all of the time. I let you know what is real, and that's how you're able to see yourself in my success story, right? And I'm not even done. I'm on this path for lifelong as well. I will have 100K months, and then that will be the start of something else as well. And it's all for the beauty of more women, magical women, living on mission, having more money, and getting to do great things in the world. Money gives you choice. Money gives you power. And so empower in a beautiful way. You can donate more, you can serve more, you can hire people to do the things that you don't want to do. And right now you need more money to do that. And so I'm helping you with that. Now, so the Jupiter plan, what else is for the Jupiter plan? So having that long-term vision, understanding what that person is like. So I have a future meditation prayer. If you're not in my school, then message me. I can get it to you for 80% off. It makes it like $2. But if you're in my school, go to that module 3 in Soul Money Mastery, and it's there. And when I have a meditation that I'm working with or something like this, I listen to the meditation every day. There was a year that I listened to this one hypno track every day. And that's a part of it. So that's why I create those things for you. It's not a one and done, like it's consistency, right? So when you understand who that person is, what they look like, how they're carrying themselves, where they live, how they dress, activate what you can now. You know, it doesn't mean that you got to go out and buy like a $2,000 robe, but like I'll share this one story, and then I'll share this one story about this cape, and then I don't see any questions coming in, or I'll answer any questions. Great, we'd love to get the meditation. I think you have it in your inbox. You commented future, and you have it in your inbox. Uh, you're just gonna buy the things. Like, you gotta invest in yourself up here. Okay, I know you invest in yourself, but we've been talking about working together for a while. So I'm gonna lovely give it to you straight of like, freebie seekers are not the vibe. I had people check off why they're here. I'm a freebie seeker a lot, not a lot, but some people put that. If you are seeking freebies, cheap attracts cheap. You will see people will just download your freebies and just use you for your wisdom and knowledge for free for for as long as you continue to do that. So let me tell you about this cape. So this is now, they're selling these for like $3,000. This is sold by a woman whose name is really Isis. It was her birth given name. And she's a beautiful creator. I live in a magical place in Central America where people come to be creative, to heal, to share their gifts.